Now there are pages and pages in the register which will say a name and then just deceased, possibly with a date. There are many people whom we truly don't know where they were buried. They could have been back at the end of the garden between the necessaries if they were in town. They could have been in the middle of an orchard. They could have been at the family farm. They could be in Bruton Parish churchyard. Frequently, they don't tell us where the people are buried, so they could be spending eternity in the Bruton Parish churchyard in a completely unmarked grave. We have carpenters, we have a writing master, we have a merchant. 1699 is the year that Williamsburg actually becomes the capital of Virginia, and it is a year when the people are worshiping in the 1683 structure which preceded the church we have today. It was a church that looked exactly like what you may see if you visit Jamestown Island, because the church there is almost exactly like what we had. There were people buried in the floor of that church, just as there are buried in the floor of Bruton today. And the Reverend Roland Jones, who was Martha Washington's great-grandfather, was the rector of that little church. And he knew, as his parishioners, a great many of the people who are buried in our churchyard. Now, he wasn't the only priest by any means. We had a whole string of priests coming from the beginning in 1607. But Cope Doyley was one of those who served that little 1683 structure, and he was evidently a very fine preacher. He had a wife and he had a daughter, and her name was Elizabeth, and very sadly she died. Right across the page from her memorial is her daddy, Cope Doyley, the Reverend Cope Doyley. Life was exceedingly fragile in Virginia, and as always, it's best handled with prayer. But these people left their mark, and they always left some sort of a mark within the shadow of the church.